Now, after today, it won't be, you cannot do one, it would be, you will not. And people who do not do thorough and honest 4 steps don't make it in this program. Now, how many of y'all have had the opportunity to do one before? Did you get thorough and honest?
Not thorough, but honest.
Well, well, wait a minute. If you weren't thorough, you weren't too honest. So did you leave some shit off?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many of y'all have been given these 4-step sheets to do a 4-step, and you put just about everything on there, but those 1 or 2 things you don't want nobody to know that you did to another one of God's children, or it happened to you? Everybody in here has something like that. Now, how many of y'all in here, when you're out there, you do a lot of things you don't want to do, you go through a lot of pain and a lot of misery? How many of y'all, if you come in here and get into recovery, are you going to have to do some things that you really don't want to do? Guess what one of them is? The 4-step. Now, time and time again, newcomers come in here and they think they can sort of bypass this step. They think they're different. They think they're special. And so they think they can leave those 1 or 2 things off and do the rest of the shit, and everything's going to be fine. Now, the big book has precise, clear-cut directions on how to do the steps. And nowhere in the 4-step does it say leave shit off. It don't say that. Now, let's say, what's your first name? Chris. Chris? Let's say Chris leaves some shit off in his 4-step. Would he be doing a 4-step? He would be doing a Chris step. And where do your steps get you? Here. Now, is this what you want to keep doing with your life? Okay. Then you got to work another program, not Chris. How many of y'all think somehow, some way, someday, you're going to take your little program and actually make it work? And the more that you try to make your little program work, the worse it gets. Now, in order to do the 4-step, you got to sort of understand some things. Now, since we got a few new people in here, I'm going to go through 1, 2, and 3 real quick this morning. And we're going to jump in to the 4-step. Now, the 4-step, okay? If you learn how to fill out a resentment inventory, you learned how to do the other 3. They're basically the same. So if you can understand how to do this one, you sort of know how to do the other one. Now, I'm going to need 3 volunteers, okay? You're going to be a volunteer. You can be a volunteer. And you're going to be a volunteer. How'd y'all like volunteering? All right. Now, how many of y'all come in here and y'all think the reason you're sitting in here is because of drugs and alcohol? Look, when you get backed in a corner by the legal system, by family, by work, by finances, the one thing that comes to your mind that you got to quit doing is what? Alcohol. So that's what you think it is? And what do you keep doing? Alcohol. Look, if all you ever think about is not you, guess what you're going to keep doing? Using. I'll prove it to you. If I told you right now, do not think of pink. What are you thinking of? Think. Now, if you would start thinking about changing, and that's all you would gear your mind to is changing, guess what you would do? You change. And if Chris changes, guess what Chris will not want to do anymore? Yeah. Now, that's simple shit, ain't it? But it's simple shit, yeah. Because this is a simple program. Not easy, but it's simple. And that's why it's not easy for you. The simple shit, you complicate the hell out of it, don't you? You ain't the only one. Every alcoholic ever come in here does. Now, 3 things we try to get across to you, okay? In step one, they're going to tell you the problem. They're going to tell you 2 things. They're going to tell you about physical allergy coupled with a mental obsession. Now, these 2 things will render you powerless. Now, what's your first name?
Winston?
Winston?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you using? Your favorite thing?
Drugs of choice?
Yeah, your favorite thing. What was it?
Cocaine.
Okay. And how were you doing it? Smoking it, snorting it, shooting it, what? Okay. If you had 5 lines as big as my middle finger.
Yeah, that's how they know.
I know. That's why I put it up there. Could you do a quarter of one, put the rest of them in the refrigerator for a month?
No.
Come back, do another little quarter, put the rest of it in the refrigerator for another month.
Fuck no.
And do that every month until it was all gone.
Fuck no.
What would happen if you snorted the first little quarter?
Oh, one more.
You would set this physical thing off in your body, and your body would start to physically crave more.
Yeah. An hour later,
And the more you use, the more you crave. And the more you crave, the more you got to use. Now, how many times have you come up off of one of these? It's called a well-known spree, and sang the Alcoholics National Anthem. I'll never do that shit again.
No.
Huh?
No.
Never? Well, why you here then?
No. If I was crazy, I would.
No. Listen to the question. How many times have you come up off a bad spree before? And said, I'll never do that shit again.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And did it again every time.
Yeah.
Now, every time you come up off a spree, you try to live in your own skin sober, don't you?
Yeah.
And so you start a little build up again, upstairs between your ears.
And you thought.
And once the obsession kicks in with you, it tells you to snort some more. Now, has this been the story of your little using life?
Yeah.
You will start, quit, build up, start, quit, build up, start, quit.
Yes, sir.
And the starting and the quitting gets smaller and smaller, and the problems get worse and worse.
Yeah.
And you come in here and you got more problems than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Now, how many of y'all keep doing the same thing that he says he does? Every one of us. That's what runs us up in here. Now, how many of y'all come in here and y'all think y'all know everything about anything? And nobody can tell you nothing. But see, you know everything. Now, you know so much. You are a patient at, that's how much you know. Now, we're trying to get some new thinking going on up here. Trying to give you a little rearrangement up here. So if you can get some different thinking going on up here, you will take some different actions. And if you got some different thinking and different actions, you get different results. Now, if you keep the same thinking, you're going to keep the same, and you're going to keep getting worse results. Now, little bitty things that you think have no bearing on anything actually have a bearing on everything. Like coming in here, sticking your damn foot in a chair. How many of y'all little bitty things, if you can't do little bitty things right in here, what makes you think when you get out of there and you're faced with some big things to do right, what makes you think you're going to be able to do them? You got to be able to start doing the little bitty things right, like making your damn bed. And your stuff up. And when you start doing little bitty things right, you get some practice under your belt. And guess what starts to change a little bit? Your thinking. Look, a lot of people say you can't act your way into different thinking, and some people say you can't think yourself into different actions. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you, if you keep the same old thinking, you're gonna keep taking the same actions. Now, in step 2, they give you what? The solution. And the solution is also twofold. Part of it is going to the meetings and the fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous. And the other part of the solution is doing the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, which are the steps. Now, everybody sitting in here knows where the fellowship is. Where's the fellowship? Going to what? The meeting. Now, when you go to a meeting and you're in there with some other recovered people, how many of y'all have been supported in these meetings? That's what the meetings do. Now, there's more to it than that. Just going to meetings won't do it for people like me. Not only do I have to go to the meetings and get involved, I have to actually do the steps. And the directions for these steps are in the first 103 pages of the big book. And what the steps do is change me. Now, if I put these two together, I'm going to tap into some power. Now, if we give you the problem and we give you the solution, you've got to make a damn decision. And what you're going to decide in step 3 is to remain as you are or to seek this power. Now, how many of y'all, if you sought this power like you sought drugs and alcohol, we wouldn't need nobody here to help you do this? Right? Right. When you sought drugs and alcohol, could anything stop you? No, nobody could stop you. The Red Army couldn't stop you. But how many of y'all come in here and it's time to seek this power and you come up with every damn excuse under the sun not to do it? I don't like the food. I don't like it's always something. And then there's ones of y'all that come in here who are really serious about this, and we hear absolutely nothing out of you. And some of y'all, it's one thing after another, after another, after another. Now, I was telling the ladies this yesterday. In 6 months from now, if I see you in recovery and I can't remember your name, that's probably a good thing. Because after about 20,000 of y'all, it's hard to remember names. Y'all got one to remember. I got about 20,000. But if I see you and I go, oh, what's up, man? It's because when you were in treatment, it was always one thing after another, after another, after another. Now, We give you the problem, we give you the solution. And then we tell you, you gotta make a decision. What do you really, really, really want to do? Now, if you don't want to do this, what you have decided to do, you just don't get it yet, is to do that. And if you decide you don't want this anymore, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, and that you want to change your life and get out of the problem and get into the solution and stay there, the way you carry out step 3 is by taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we call these action steps. And if you can take the action step, like the book says, you have a design now on how to start living again in 10, 11, and 12. People who do this know how to start doing this. People who don't do this have not a clue how to do this. Now, what's the first action step up there? 4. If you will not do a 4th step, thoroughly and honestly, can you do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? So you'll be able to take none of the action steps. Your decision will remain a decision. You'll never get into the solution. You'll stay stuck in. And when shit starts happening again, you'll say, that shit don't work. How many times have you had an opportunity to do that? Yes. You ever been to treatment? This is the first time. So you have a golden opportunity to change your life around. And if you do this, it would be your fault. And if you don't, it would be your fault. See, how many of y'all have had golden opportunity after golden opportunity after golden opportunity, and you squander them all? How many of y'all? After everything you've done, look what God's done for you again. Put you in a position and given you a damn golden opportunity. Now, what are you going to do with this one? You may not get another one. Now, I want you to open your big book up. I want you to go to let's go to page 63 right now. I want you to go to the 5th sentence from the bottom on page 63. Does everybody have their big book? They would want to. Okay, the 5th sentence from the bottom. In this part of the book, they're still talking about step 3. It says, this was only a beginning. Though if honestly and humbly made, an effect, sometimes a very great one, was felt at once. Now, 99.9% of the people who come into this program, when they make the step 3 decision, nothing happens. Now, every now and then they have something called a spiritual experience that people have, and all of a sudden they are changed. Now, if that was going to happen to you, it probably would have already happened. Now, most of us that come in here, what we have is a spiritual awakening, not the experience, the awakening. And there's a difference. An experience happens like that. An awakening happens a little slowly, and it's the educational variety. So each step you take in here, you get a little education. And hopefully you start to awake a little bit. That means your head starts to come out of your rear end. And somewhere around here, it'll culminate in an awakening of the spirit. That means you'll have a personality change. Now, all the change starts when you start taking action. And the first step of which is step 4. Now, again, we're in step 3 right now. Okay? Back in the book. It says next. See, after I make the step 3 decision, next, I launched out on a course of vigorous action. The first step of which is a personal house cleaning. Look, it just told you what the first action step was. Now, I want you to look up here. How many of you guys in here can spot shit out in another person like that? Well, when it comes time to look at your own shortcomings and defects, you're blind as a damn bat. Now, anytime you point the finger at somebody, look how many's pointing back. We have a saying in AA, if you spot it, you got it. Now, the only way I can spot something out in another person is if it's in me or been in me. Sometimes some of you guys, ladies, y'all come tell me, oh, you know it, so-and-so is doing better, and I'll just listen, I'll go, yeah, no shit. And what they don't know is who they're really telling on is themselves. They're telling me what they're like. Because if you spot it, you got it. Now, if we have a personality change as a result of taking what? Steps. I'm going to get good at taking my inventory. And I'm not going to worry about yours. Look, none of y'all in here need help taking everybody else's inventory. You have arrived at that yet. Where you need some help is taking your own. Now, if you can get as good taking yours as you are taking everybody else's, you would be what we would consider an AA guru. Now, taking personal inventory, okay? That's what we're trying to teach you. We're going to try to give you a class on how to do that. Now, if you can learn how to take your inventory, then guess what you can do? Continue to take. Now, self-will is a powerful force. It has to be. Because God put self-will in us humans to rule the universe. He wanted us humans to be the dominant species over all the other creatures. So self-will has to be a strong and powerful force. And it is. And if it's monitored right, it serves a good, useful purpose. Now, some of y'all have heard me use this example. A nuclear reactor, would you say it's a powerful force? I would. Now, nuclear reactor, if they monitor them on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly basis, that means if things are taken out of a nuclear reactor like heat and shit's added to them like water to cool them, will a nuclear reactor serve a good, useful purpose? Yeah. Now, if nuclear reactors are not monitored on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly basis, and shit's not taken out like heat, and water is not added to it to cool it, will that powerful force destroy itself from the inside out? Now, self-will is the same principle. If self-will, a powerful force, is monitored on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly basis. If some things are taken out, like defects of character, dishonesty, inconsideration, selfishness, self-centeredness, self-seeking, if that's taken out and some shit's added to it, like honesty, consideration, thinking of others, will self-will serve a good, useful purpose. If it's not monitored, and some things are not taken out like defects of character, and shit's not added to it like God qualities, will self-will destroy itself from the inside out. How many of y'all have been destroying yourself from the inside out? Now, if we're going to go back into business, and hopefully that's what you're here for, we got to get down to the real stock in trade. What the shit's really going on inside of you? Now, to do the 4-step, you have to understand, Jared, you have to understand a little bit about the big book. Now, the person who wrote the big book, who picked the pen up and put pen to pencil, was Bill Wilson, co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, Bill had a lot of help writing the book. The first 40 people in here would send him information. He would decipher it, put it on paper, send it back to them. They would look at it and go, yeah, or hell no. Now, you've got to understand Bill's writing style in order to understand the book. It makes a big difference if you understand his writing style. Now, Bill was a Yankee. God bless him. Bill was from the East Coast. Now, people up on the East Coast, Yankees, they did not like to use the same word twice. They thought if you did, it made you sound stupid. Yeah. Now, so Bill uses a bunch of different words that mean exactly the same damn thing. I'll give you an example. When it comes to God, he uses terms like creative intelligence, spirit of the universe, Lord of heaven. Hurry up. Don't get none on you. Hurry up. You don't want to miss nothing. Now, different words that mean exactly. You got to know that when we get into the 4-step. So he's going to use some different words that mean exactly. And if you don't understand that, you will get lost and lost very quick. Now, another one of Bill's writing styles. He likes to teach you something by something you should already know. They call them parables. Red.
Yes, sir.
Did they have a carpenter that walked this earth thousands of years ago?
Yes, sir.
What was his name?
Jesus.
Did he teach people?
Yes.
How?
Parables.
Parables. When he talked to fishermen, he told stories about fishing. When he talked to carpenters, he told them stories about carpentry. So, Bill's two distinct writing styles. Doesn't like to use the same word, and he tries to teach you something by something you should already know. Now, Bill's going to compare taking a personal inventory with a business. That's what he's going to do. He's going to teach you something by something you should already. Now, who in here has never in their life run a legal, legitimate business? You never have.
No, not legal and legitimate.
That's what I said, legal. Yeah. Now, a person who runs a legal, legitimate business, which he never had, if they don't take a regular inventory of their business, what happens to them?
They ain't open long.
They not open long. Now, he's never run a legal, legitimate business, yet he knows that. A person who doesn't take regular inventory will go bankrupt, spiritual. A business that doesn't take inventory will go bankrupt financially. Now, spiritual bankruptcy, it has certain signs and certain symptoms to tell you you got the shit. Now, signs and symptoms of someone who's spiritually bankrupt. They got resentment out the freaking wazoo. They're full of fear, and they have a lot of guilt and remorse that's eating their lunch. Now, how many of y'all got a few resentments under your belt? How many of y'all have a lot of guilt and remorse? And how many of y'all fear just drives you? That's signs and symptoms you're spiritually sick as hell. Now, if we're going to go back into business, got to get down to the stock and trade. All right, back in the book. We're on the top of page 64. It says, though our decision, that's step 3. Come on, Rev, open your book. We're waiting on you. I bet you didn't close that bigger book, or maybe you did. It says, though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effects unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. How many of y'all want this to be permanent? Then I'm telling you, if you don't do a thorough and honest 4-step, it won't be permanent. You'll be in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. How many of y'all, that's being your MO? You come in, out, in, out, in, out. They're telling you for this to be permanent, that's got to be thorough and honest. Now, nobody came through the door when you checked in with jingle bells on your ankles going, woohoo! Yeah, I get to do a 4-step. None of y'all did. Now, is this going to sort of be the first step? You're going to have to do some shit you don't want to do. Now, why is one reason that somebody holds back on the 4-step? Huh? Well, say that again? Pride. Your pride and your ego. It won't let you. See, your pride and your ego is killing your ass. And you keep blaming it on. Yeah. Look, everybody who's ever came into Alcoholics Anonymous, guess what they really don't want to do? A 4-step. Everybody sitting in this room right now has 1 or 2 or 12 things you don't want nobody to know happen to you or you did to somebody else. And that's just the facts. Now, another reason a lot of y'all won't do a 4-step, because you know you got to go sit down with somebody in a 5th step and tell them about it. Now, how many of y'all have this fear in the back of your mind that people are going to go back and tell people what you tell them in the 5th step? You know why you have that fear? Because that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. When somebody tells you something, you go run and blab it to the whole world. And you think everybody's like you. Now, can I guarantee 100% that people who come in here and hear your 5th step will keep it under their belt and never say another word? I cannot. Can I promise you about 95%? I can. Because people who know me in AA know if they come into this facility and hear a 5th step and it's repeated, they will never, ever, never, ever be allowed. And I will make sure they sort of get blackballed. because that's how vital and crucial this is. Now, once it comes out and it sees the light of day, guess who won't be worried about it that much anymore? You. And you won't care who knows. It will actually become one of your best assets. Because you're going to be able to help another one of God's children with your little past. My past, which I used to regret to the hilt, is the best thing I got going now. It's one of my best assets. And I don't care who knows. Because the worse they look at me like I used to be and where I'm at now, they go, oh, fuck, if he can do it, if he can do it, I know I can. How many of y'all regret the past? Well, let me tell you something about the past. If you keep living in the past, it becomes your present. And then it becomes your future. Rev, if you ever get back up on the pulpit and change, they ain't gonna tell how many people you'll be able to reach. If you let your ego and your pride go. Ain't no telling how many people in Bugaloosa that you can help if you let your pride and your ego go. Now, the fourth step. What do I have to be in the fourth step? Honest. Thorough and honest. Now, a couple of questions that come up time after time. If I can't remember it and I don't put it down, does that mean I'm not doing it thorough and honest? Well, if you can't remember it, there's no way you can write the shit down. If it's up here, it's got to go on paper. And if it's up here and it don't go on paper, you're not being thorough or honest. Now, some of the things I've picked up over the years from doing one myself and helping other people is before you even pick the pencil or pen up or your crayon or whatever you're going to use, this is what you do. Hey, bro, I need a little help. Before you even start. And I promise you, if you're ready to roll, you know who's going to make sure what needs to go on that paper goes on it? God. All right, back in the book. We're on the top of page 64. Our crack smoking was but a symptom. So we had to get down to causes and conditions. See what they're telling you, your drug and alcohol use is but a symptom. We got to get down to what's really going on. It says, therefore, we started upon a personal inventory. And I'm sure that's what your book says. It doesn't say everybody else's inventory. Boy, how many of y'all can take your wife's inventory real good? Or your mama's, or your daddy's, or your employer. A business, here we go, which takes no regular inventory, usually goes. Taking a commercial inventory, different word, means the same thing as business. Different words that mean exactly. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and a fact-facing process. Look up here. A business fact-finds. A person searches. Different words that mean exactly. A business fact finds. A person fearlessly. Different words that mean exactly the same thing. A business. He's comparing a business with a person. Now, leave your book so you can get right back to it. Lay it over on the floor. Mark it. Now, tell me your first name again. Cameron. Let's say Cameron. Where are you from, Cameron? From Denver. Let's say Cameron owned a shoe store. And Cameron had a shoe store up on Range. And they had another shoe store on Florida Boulevard about 3 miles from his. And every morning he woke up, instead of going to his shoe store, he went to the other one and had his nose in their business. What would happen to his shoe store? It would suffer. How many of y'all always got y'all's damn nose somebody else's damn business? And it ain't never in your business. So what happens to your business? It suffers. Now, let's say Cameron is at his store. He's trying to run it. And Cameron gets a big old shipment of some Nike tennis shoes in. And he lays them on the shelf. And them some bitches are selling like hotcakes. He can't keep them on the shelf. What would he do? What would he do? He would order more because they're making him money. So he orders some more. He gets another shipment in, puts them on the shelf, and they start selling. But all of a sudden, Nike comes out with some new ones and they send them to him. And he puts the new ones on the shelf next to the old ones. Now the new ones are flying off the shelf, and the old ones are just sitting there now, not selling. What would he do? Say that again?
Discount.
He would discount the old ones, almost mark them down and give them away because they're not making him any. And the new ones that just came in that are selling like hotcakes now, what would he do with them? Order more. So how would he know what to get rid of and what to order more of? Inventory. Thoroughly and honestly. And as long as he does that, can he make money? Can he stay in business?
Yes.
But when he quits taking his inventory, what's selling and what's not, and takes the eye off the prize, what happens to his business? Starts to suffer. And if he lets it go long enough, it will go bankrupt. Now, how many of y'all don't know what the goddamn hell's sitting on your shelf? Now, I had some shit sitting on my shelf before I came in here, wasn't nobody buying it. And I kept trying to sell the shit. And nobody was buying it no more. They were up to here with my shelf. But I kept trying to sell it. So guess what happened to thine? I went bankrupt spiritually. Somebody goes bankrupt spiritually. They got to start dumping massive amounts of shit in them to change the way they feel. Now, coming in here, I want to go back into business. So I got to figure out what's sitting on my shelf that's not selling. What do I need to get rid of? And what do I need to order more of? See, today, I got some shit sitting on my shelf. People beat my door down to buy it. And every day, all day, this is what I continue to do. Take every day, all day, I got to make sure what's sitting on my shelf is selling. Because if not, I'll start to go bankrupt again. My business will start to suffer. And if it suffers long enough, I'll be in the class with y'all. So, who's ready to go back into business? That's what you say. All right, I want you to get back in the book. How many of y'all in here? How many of y'all in here have been around the book for a while? You have. Let me rephrase. How many of y'all have one of these sumbitches for a while? Have you ever looked at it like we just explained it?
No.
You've got to have somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about, this book, explain it to you. It would sort of be like you going into class as a kindergartner and they gave you a book of algebra in kindergarten and said, okay, test tomorrow. There's no way you could pass it. Now, if somebody could decipher it for you and explain it to you real simple, do the chances go up? See, that's what we're doing. We're trying to decipher this for you. But since you know everything, we can't teach you anything. It's hard to decipher for most of y'all. All right, back in the book. We're going to start the first full paragraph down again. Therefore, we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4 of business, which takes no regular inventory, usually goes taking a commercial inventory. There's a fact-finding and a fact-facing process. It's an effort to discover the truth. Look, what we're trying to do is get down to one thing. And that is the truth, which is a very damn elusive thing for most of y'all. And Rev, what will the truth do? There you go. It'll set your ass free from the lie you've been living. Now, we're trying to get down to the truth about the stock in trade. What's sitting on your shelf? Now, how many of y'all remember a couple of years ago when Wall Street went belly up? A lot of businesses, this is what they were doing. They were taking inventory, all right, but they weren't doing it thorough or honest. They were putting shit on their books that they really didn't have. And the shit they had, they wasn't putting it down. They call it cooking the books. Now, will that work for a while? Can a business stay propped up for a little while cooking the books?
A little while.
Yeah, for a little while. And then when the truth comes out, what happens? Bankrupt. How many of y'all get these inventory sheets? And you put some shit down there that you really got, but the shit that's really burning and bothering you, you don't put down there. You're cooking the books. And can you stay propped up for a little while? A little while. How long would you stay propped up? What's not long?
Yeah.
How long? How long? How long? And the dam comes tumbling down right on top of your head when the truth comes out, don't it? Look, guys, I'm telling you, if you're not going to do this 4-step thoroughly and honestly, this will not work. It just won't work. And I'm telling you, the little time you'll stay propped up, when it crashes on top of your head, the difference now is going to be, you got a head full of this shit now. You're welcome. And a belly full of booze. And that's a horrible, horrible mix for an alcoholic like me. All right, back in the book. It's an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsellable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. Just like he would get rid of those ones that weren't selling anymore. He would mark them down, get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. Now, who is the owner of your business? You are. And how many of y'all have fooled yourself about who and what you really are? How many of y'all come in this place and y'all go, I love my family. I'm a true believer in God. You got a family?
Family, not a family.
Say that again.
I don't have kids, but I have family.
Kids are part of a family.
Yeah. I don't have my own family.
Well, what you got?
Mother, father.
That's your own family.
sister. Yeah.
So what you got? Tell me.
Mother, father, brother, sister.
What you got?
I got family,
What you got?
mother, father, sister,
Okay.
three sisters.
All right. So that family you told me about, you love them? You? Yeah. That's what you say out your mouth.
I
Huh?
love those jobs, but I'll tear them apart.
But that's what you say out your mouth. What do your actions say? You do or you don't? Your actions show you do. Now, I'm a little slow as you can start to pick up on, but I want you to explain to me how you snort massive amounts of cocaine, killing yourself shows that you love them. Huh? Does it?
No.
I didn't think so. What's your mouth say?
That I had an option.
Your mouth says you love them.
Yeah.
What do your actions say?
That I love them,
That you do or you don't?
that I do love them.
Okay, well, again, I'm a little slow, okay? Now, have you ever made your parents worry? Sick. Now, again, explain to me how that shows that you love them.
You know, I went sober for 4.5 years.
Charles Manson was sober for 37.
I had options. I could have come here or I could have went to Baltimore where I loved it. I stayed there for 13
Well, let
years.
me ask you this, okay? Do you even know what love is?
Yeah.
What?
I was caring for my family.
It's
You
a
know,
genuine
doing what's the best
concern,
thing for them.
a genuine concern
Yeah.
for another human being. What would you do to him if he made your mother and father worry themselves sick like you did? What would you do to him? Would you stand for it? Okay. You know what your parents wish? That's the question. You know what your parents
Yeah,
wish?
you know, like,
That it was him and not you. Now, again, I'm a little slow, but I want you to tell me how that shows you love him.
like I said down here.
I know you here. I can fucking see you. But tell me again, explain to me how that shows that you love him.
What I was doing was not showing that I loved
Okay.
them. But me being here is showing that I do love them because I could have easily.
Well,
went to
we're
Baltimore.
really not talking about since you walked in the door. We're talking about from the start of your youth until you walked in the door.
Right.
All that.
Well, yeah, I was being selfish.
And dishonest.
Yeah.
And inconsiderate and thinking of yourself only.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm a little slow. Do we need to keep going? Okay, I didn't think. Now, again, look, wait a minute now, wait a minute, let's be fair. How many of y'all are listening to him going, God damn, dude, you can't see that? How many of y'all?
We all doing the same shit.
How many of y'all came in here and were just like that? Yeah. How easy it is to only see like this. Look, how many of y'all only see this? It's like you got blinders on. I know you've seen an old Western, huh? If you ever seen an old Western in a stagecoach, and they got 3 or 4 lines of horses pulling, on the lead horses, they got blinders on them. You know why? So all they can see is what's in front of them. How many of y'all, like me, I walked around with blinders on for about 39 years. All I could see was my way. You didn't want to hear your way, wasn't interested in your way, pretty much your way. Now, I start right in the 4th step. When I started getting thorough and honest with Kevin for the first time in his life, those blinders started to get peeled back. And when I sat down in the 5th step, they came off. And when they came off, That's when 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 opened up for me. How many of y'all are so self-centered, all you can see? Because I guarantee mommy and daddy would tell me something completely different than what you telling me. The truth. That's what they would tell me. See, the truth. Look, we're not trying to say who's right and who's wrong in this fourth and fifth step. And that's where a lot of y'all get confused. Whose job is it to say who's right and who's wrong? God. And you made a decision in 3 to quit playing God. It's not your responsibility to say who's right and who's wrong. Your responsibility, which you've been neatly evading, is to get out and go one thing, and that's the damn truth. And once you see the truth about something, it'll set you free from the lie you live. Because if you have a resentment, it's a damn lie. Now, how many of y'all are your own worst enemy? I could take some of y'all, and I could bring you anywhere I wanted to take you up here. Just like a puppet on a string. I can remember before I came into this program, people who really knew me, they would go, watch this shit. And they would say something or do something, and I'd be like a little puppet on a string, and they would take me wherever they wanted to take me. And after I'd make a big deal out of shit, I'd go, got them motherfuckers where I want them. And the whole time they got me like a little puppet, looking like a dumbass. When I finally saw what was going on, I went, oh God. How many of y'all people just take you anywhere they want to take you, when they want to take you, for how long they want to take you? And then most of the time it's people that you don't like or care for that got you by the yang. Because if somebody controls you up here, you're thinking, they control your action. How many of us in this room have burnt energy up foolishly doing shit like that? Yeah. All right. The sheet you got in front of you, I want you to get it in front of you. It's the 4-step resentment inventory sheet. Now, you got to understand some things about the 4-step inventory sheet. The 4-step inventory sheet is made up of 4 columns. Now, in columns 1 and 2, column 1 and column 2. Column 1 says, what? I'm resentful at. That's what it says. That's column 1. Column 2 says what? The cause. Now, column 3 is all of this. Look, column 3 is going to be all of this. And what it's going to be talking about is self. Now, column 3 pretty much says this. You have a social instinct, right? You have a what? A security instinct. And you have a what? I knew y'all would get the sex instinct. Now, it also says you have some what? Ambitions. Now, all of that is column what? 3. All of this. All of that is column 3. Hurry up. Now, I want you to tell me what is the first one under the social instinct? What's it say?
Self-esteem and pride.
Okay, self-esteem and pride. What's the next one say? Personal relationships. The next one's the security instinct. Read the first one. Material. Read the second one. Emotional. All right, we go to the sex instinct. Read the first one. Natural. Somebody read the second one. Now, under the ambition, okay? Under the ambitions, you have a social ambition, you have a security ambition, and you have a sexual ambition. Now, all of that is column 3. Now, the last part of this thing is column 4. And what it says is the exact nature of my wrongs, faults, shortcomings, blah, 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 the diggity, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now, in that 4th column, Israel, I want you to read the first one in the 4th column. What's it say? What? Selfish. Read the next one. What? Okay, dishonest. Rev, read the next one.
Self-seeking
And
and frightened.
frightened. And the last one is inconsiderate, right? Okay. Now, I want you to clear your head and I want you to look up here. And I want you to listen, because if you don't, we're gonna leave you behind. You've got to listen. Now, in school, you were taught to read and write from left to right. Do not fill this inventory out left to right. I'm going to repeat that about 500 more times today. Do not fill it out left to right. Now, we're going to fill this thing out from top to bottom. And I'm going to do one column at a time. How many columns do I have? 4. I want you to remember this number today, okay? 4. Right, let's do it again. 4. Now, we're on the 4th step. How many columns are there? 4. How many inventories are you going to do? 4. A resentment, a fears, a harm, and a sex conduct. So what number should you remember today? 4. 4 step, 4 column, 4 inventories. Now, again, column 1 is from right here to right here. Column 2 is from right here to right here. Column 3 is all of this. From right here to right here. Not just this one. All of this is column. And then from right here to right here is column. So what step are we on? How many columns? How many inventories? What are the inventories? You're going to fill out a resentment inventory, a harms inventory, a fears inventory, and a sex conduct. 4 inventories, 4 columns, the 3rd step, right? The 4th step. Now, Your reading and writing ability has nothing to do with how thorough and honest this can be. How many of y'all have ever saw directions on a crack pipe? I've never seen directions on a crack pipe. And I learned how to do that. My reading and writing skills had nothing to do with it. Have y'all ever seen directions on the back of a top vodka bottle? And the heroin you buy off the street, does it have directions? If you really want to do this, guess what you can do? This. We have enough people to help you. All you have to do is ask. Put your pride and your ego to the damn side and say, I need some damn help. Okay. You were a volunteer. You and you. Now, I'm horrible with names, so don't let it offend you. First name. Cameron. Marcus. Okay. Cameron, Delonte, and Marcus. Right? Okay. We're going to go from top to bottom. You got a resentment? Who? Who you resent? Mama. Who you resent?
Mother of my child.
Give me a first name, even though it don't have to be the right.
Brittany.
What? Brittany. Is that the right name? Huh? Is that the real name? Okay, I bet you hate Brittany name. What's yours? What? Okay. Now we get to the calls, column 2. Look, this is where y'all want to have diarrhea of the mouth. This is where you want to do all your writing. This is all you can see. In column 2, you have to write just enough to get going. You don't have to write your whole life story here. Watch, I'll show you. Why you resent mama? Huh? Too strict. That's all I got to put. Why you resent Brittany? A liar. Why you resent dad? Abandonment. See, that's all you got to write. Just enough to get going when you sit down in the 5th step. Now, how many of y'all still have your instinct sheets with you? If you don't, you better. How many of y'all never got one? Raise your hand. He's going to pass them out for you. Raise your hand if you've never got one of these instinct sheets. He's going to pass them out to you. Come on, hurry up. Look, guys, anything that I hand out to you in this classroom, you have to bring with you. That's why we hand it out to you. Now, I want you to look at something. I want you to look at the instinct sheet. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Hurry, 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 hurry. Where was yours at? Guys, anything we hand out to you, you've got to bring it with you to class. Okay, look up here. The instinct sheet. That's what you're really inventorying. Now, go on. What is it? I knew I'd get that one right. Now, y'all too, y'all. Okay, when mom's too strict on you, does it affect your self-esteem and your pride? When Brittany is a liar and you catch her, does it affect your self-esteem and your pride? When dad abandoned you, did it affect your self-esteem and your pride? I go to the next one, personal relationships. I read what it says. Read what personal relationships say on the social instinct. Okay. when she's too strict, she grounds you, you can't hang out with your friends, or blah, 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 blah. Does it affect your personal relationships? Does this affect your personal relationships? Definitely. Okay, we go to the security instinct. Read the first one under the security instinct material.
Money, buildings, property, clothing, etc. For to be secure in the future.
Okay. When you having problems with mom being too strict, does it affect your material security? Yeah, because she ain't gonna buy you nothing if you don't listen to her, huh?
Sure it does. I can't identify how.
Well, let's say Brittany is the mother. I would say your material instincts are all over the place with that. Well, let's see. With him abandoning you, okay? I didn't say affected it bad. It could have affected it good. Because it could have made you get an education, work hard, get a job, which would have affected your material. Or it could have been the complete opposite. I don't know. It's your inventory. You got to tell me. Okay, he says no. Emotional. Look, you got to listen to this one. Look up here and listen. If you have somebody up here on the resentment inventory, it affected your emotional security. Would you say so? Brittany, would you say so? Well, I bet you every time you hear that name, you go to resentment. It could be Britney Spears and you'd go, bitch. Okay. Sex instinct, the natural sex instinct. Read what natural says.
In accordance with human nature.
Okay. Now, I want you just to listen to me. With mom being strict on you, mom seems like somebody got her shit together. No? Okay. By mom having her shit together and being strict on you, did it drive you to somebody who would let you get away with whatever you wanted in a relationship? Okay. So did it affect your natural sex instinct? Not with mom, but okay. Bingo. I would say so. Desire. Read what desire says. On this sex instinct. Okay. Look, I don't know. You're going to have to tell me this. Did it affect your desired sex relations in any kind of a way? Okay. Even if it's somewhat. I would say so. Now, look, if you listen to this point, it will save you a lot of time when you're doing the 4-step. Now, if you notice, we're going top to. Now, if we were going left to right, we would still be over here somewhere. And y'all would be so discombobulated, you'd just start checking shit. Now, listen to me. If you go top to bottom, you only have to read this one time. You read what self-esteem says. You get it in your head and you focus on nothing but, and you go top to bottom on all your lists. You read what personal relationships say one time. You get it in your head and you go top to bottom, concentrating on nothing but on all your lists. If you go left to right, you have to stop and read this shit every time. And when you get around here, you're going to be fucking discombobulated. And then you're just going to start checking shit. It won't be thorough. It won't be honest. And this will not work. Now, some of y'all are sitting here right now going, this is dumb. This is dumb. What's this got to do with me using again? Everything. What we're trying to do is get your sick ass thinking on paper. That's what we're trying to do. So if you go up here and start cooking the books, can you stay propped up for a little while? But if this shit's thorough and honest, can we show you the truth about shit? And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Now, the ambitions. You have a social. You have a security. You have a sex. I'm going to get these three from this. If both of his social instincts are checked, what do you think his social ambition would be? Check. So I'm going to get this from that. Who didn't understand that? Okay. All right, listen up. Look up here. He's got both of his social instincts checked. Okay. What do you think that did to his social ambition? You think it affected it? So I'm going to get this from this. Save you a lot of time. He's got both of his socials checked. What do you think? I'm getting this from, okay, we go to security. He's got both of his checked. What do you think? Both of his. One and none. What do you think? Still yes, it still affected it. The sex instinct, the sex, both of his are checked. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah? Both of his are checked. What do you think? Rev, both of his are checked. What do you think? I knew you'd get that one right. Now, I'm pretty much done. Because the fourth step is, the fourth column is where we're sort of going to do all our work. Now, I want you to listen to this. This is important. You're filling this out when this shit actually was happening to you. Okay? So when that resentment's running around in your head, you mad as hell, you want that thinking on paper. So when mom's doing all of that, are you being selfish? So when mom says, hey, you're grounded for 6 weeks, you can't go nowhere, you can't hang out with them jackasses you running around with, you go, okay, mom, I'm being selfish. You don't do that. So at the time this is actually happening to you, do you see that? Okay. So when Brittany got you by the yang, are you being selfish? When you start thinking about dad and what he did you go, oh, well, I was being selfish. So when the thought's in your mind and you see somebody else's dad who's there for them, going to the ball games, showing them how to fish, shave, jack off, whatever they do you say, oh, I'm being selfish? There's no way you say that. Huh? Okay. Are you being dishonest? Now, are you being a little frightened? Yeah, I could be probably frightening your mama. Like hell yeah. Inconsiderate. No, you don't see that. Bitch, you don't see that. That's what you call her. More than once. Well, we gonna get to it. Believe me. But I promise you, you don't. When that shit's going through your head, you don't go, yeah, but I'm being inconsiderate. No, you don't. Look, guys, we want you thinking when this was actually happening, not how you starting to see it now.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of y'all make the mistake. Look, if you go over here and check everything, guess what you shouldn't have? Resentment. We want your thinking when this actually is taking place on paper. Now, most of y'all, when y'all fill these out, the reason your pride and ego gets in the way, because you trying to find out who's right and who's wrong, and you don't want to be wrong. This ain't about right and wrong. Again, whose job is that? It's about getting down to the truth. Now, I want you to tell me something why you resent your mom. But before you do, how many jobs has your mom worked?
I've been born.
Yeah, working since you've been born. Why? To take care of you. Now, you sort of strike me as the kind who got pretty much what he wanted. Nice clothes, tennis shoes, got to play sports, got to go to the dances, anything you wanted to do. What about a car? Huh? Guess what she had the right to be? That's right. Because you are her most prized possession. And guess what she wanted to make sure you did? That's right. I want you, just you to open your big book to page 66. And I want you to start reading the second to last sentence on the bottom where it says, "This was our course." Go.
Realize that people no longer have to.
Keep going.
I like the symptoms and the way we serve us. We like ourselves.
Now, are you a parent? Have you made mistakes raising your children? Guess what parents do? Yeah. But we put them up on a pedestal where they're supposed to be perfect. They make mistakes. Now, do you think if your mother could go back and do some things different, raising you, she would? I know so. If you could go back and do some things differently about raising yours, would you? Now, when you make mistakes as a parent, what do you want people to show you? Love? Huh? Patience? Tolerance? Forgiveness? Are you doing the same for her, or are you putting her on a resentment sheet? Do you think she did the best she could? Yeah, I think she did pretty good, but you didn't listen. Now, are you being selfish? Just honest as hell that you can make mistakes as a parent, but she can't. And inconsiderate of the fact she tried her ass off and you're not aware of that. Now, I want you to stay with me. If you weren't all of this, these wouldn't be affected, because that's why the hell you're mad. Not this and this. You mad because your instincts got affected. You don't like that shit, do you? Now, if his mama was strict on him, same principle, right? Would it have affected you the same way? No. But look, the principle's the same. Strict is strict. And if it happened to him, you wouldn't give a rat's ass. Huh? But since it happened to you, that's why your ass is mad. And why you're mad is you don't like people affecting your instinct, do you? Now, have you ever affected people's instincts and what you want them to show you? Forgiveness, love, patience, and tolerance. And that's a beautiful thing if it's shown to you, huh? Well, but when the shoe's on the other foot and it's time for you to show it to another one of God's children, You don't like it, do you? Pretty damn dishonest of you, huh? Would you say? I'm asking you. Inconsiderate? Selfish. Now, can we change Mama? Huh? Can we change what's happened? Can we change the way this affected your instinct? Huh? No. Guess what we can go work on? Your defect. Because if you weren't all this, these wouldn't have got affected, this wouldn't be bothering you, and we wouldn't be talking about her. And your nose needs to be in your damn business instead of hers. Get your damn nose out of everybody else's business and start doing something that you can change. When somebody sees that, that's when 6 and 7 open up for them. In the amends process, they go, oh shit, I gotta make some amends. Now, what I just showed you was the truth. You ought to be thanking that woman for the way you were raised. Because they got a lot of young men who never had that opportunity. Tell me something about Brittany. I'm ready for this one. Come on.
Oh, there's a lot.
Oh, I'm sure there is. But so go.
Lie about where she was going.
You ever lied? Okay, keep going.
Misplaced money or would lie about money at the house.
You ever did that?
Oh, yeah.
Keep going.
Took the child, ran off for months.
Have you ever been a model parent and never made a mistake with your child? No. Okay, keep going.
Wrecked my car.
How many times have you driven that car and you didn't check the oil or the water and you didn't take care of that car like it should have been taken care of? Keep going.
Sold my elephant skin boots.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something. Okay. Guess who picked her? Who picked her?
I did.
Okay, keep going. Guess who decided to have a child with the one you picked? Now, if she's everything that you said, if you would have had your shit together, who would have the child? That's right. Keep going. Open your book up to page 66. Just you. Open it up. You know, I had a guy tell me one time that these papers, after we did one of his, he went, I don't like them damn papers. Because it made him look at the truth. Now, start reading where it says this was our course. Go. Last two sentences on 66. Go.
Okay, this was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick.
Okay, would you say Brittany's spiritually sick? When you're spiritually sick, which you have been, huh? What do you want people to show you?
Patience, tolerance, understanding.
And forgiveness. Keep going. Keep reading.
As though we did not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us.
Look up here. We did not like her symptoms and the way they disturbed us. Keep reading.
Like ourselves, we're
No.
sick.
They like ourselves.
They like ourselves. We're sick.
Look up here. They like ourselves because you're being selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and inconsiderate, aren't you? So they like ourselves, we're sick. 2, the pot calling the damn kettle black. 2 peas in a pod. Whoa, don't shut that book. We ain't keep reading. That book sucks, don't it?
Because we asked God to help us show them the.
Wait. We asked who?
God,
To help who?
us.
Show what?
Give them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend.
Now, I want you to listen to me. And I want, if you get nothing else out of what I'm fixing to tell you, I want you to listen to me. How many children do you have with her? A boy or a girl? Don't you ever forget this. That is her mother. And if you care anything about that little girl, you will never in your life again speak one ill word about her mother in front of her. Because when you do, you're not affecting her mother. You know who you're affecting? Yeah, the one you say out your mouth. That you what? Okay. Don't ever, never forget what I just told you, because I know what I'm talking about. See, at least my past might be able to help you. Keep reading.
Because when a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick man.
How can I be helpful? Now, when a person offends, we say to ourselves, how can I be helpful? Now, are you burning up a lot of energy foolishly here? Shit you can't change. Just think if you take the same energy that you've been burning up foolishly and apply it here. And if you would make some changes here, this wouldn't bother you. She wouldn't be living rent-free up in your damn head. We need to talk about this one anymore. Are you sure? Okay. You know, people pay good money to psychiatrists for what I just told you. For free. And it's the truth. Now, the person that you resent the most, and she's one of them, huh? Controls you. Don't she? And every time you're around her with your daughter can sense that. How old's your daughter? There's still time. We good? You sure? You still need to put that on your 4-step. All right, let's go. Tell me something about Pops.
15, 16 years. Parents started fighting, and then me and him were already kind of like butting heads, so it's kind of on me too. I mean, I didn't really completely ignore him at that point. Then like by the time he was gone, he was like really gone. It's kind of like, I don't know, I heard a lot. He was always closer to my brothers. He still talked to my brothers like over the years. Like he never stopped talking to them.
Let me tell you something. It really had nothing to do with you.
He blamed it on me, he told me.
It really had nothing to do with you. Now, do you know if he's one of us?
It was a possibility.
Now, like I was telling the young man over here about his mother, parents make mistakes. They make mistakes. And it sort of sucks. I want you to listen to what I'm going to ask you. Let's say his father abandoned him. Same principle, right? Would it have affected you the same way? Same thing, just different people, right? Do you know why you're actually resentful and mad as hell? It's not because of him and them. They wouldn't. You know why you mad? Because of that. That's why you're mad. That's why you got to resent. Now, how many times have you affected other people's instincts. When shit's hitting the fan, what do you want them to show you?
Yeah, I guess compassion.
Right. Okay. So why is it okay for you to be shown that and him not?
Wait, what do you mean?
How come it's okay for you to be shown compassion when you affect people's instincts, but you won't show him compassion?
I try to.
Look, I see that. That's why you got him up here on a resentment list, because you got a lot of compassion for him, huh?
I really do. I mean,
Do you know how you really know if you've forgiven somebody? You don't think about that shit no more when it comes up. Look, how many of y'all go, oh, I'll forgive them. But every time the shit comes up, you replay it in your head. Flip, 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 and it gets worse and worse and worse. And they become worse and worse and worse, and you become better and better and rendered white as snow. Now, are you being selfish? The opposite of selfish is thinking of others. Now, who are you thinking about?
Oh, you're talking about thinking about myself?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
okay. Are you being dishonest? How? See, you want compassion shown to you, but you won't show it to another one of God's children. That's pretty dishonest if you ask me. Would you agree? Are you being inconsiderate of the fact he's spiritually sick? When you're spiritually sick, do you want people to show you consideration? Now, what do you need to go to work on? This or this? Okay. But see, we got some steps for you to work on you. We don't have steps to change him. And if you keep making it about him, this won't work. And if you change, he'll get better. And where he'll get better is in your head. You good? You sure?
Yeah,
You still need to put it on your 4-step. Now, how many of y'all sitting in here right now? We've talked to a couple of these guys about their resentment, and probably him more than any of them. Even the other two, how many of y'all could see it like that? But when it comes to your own shit, you can't see it. Anytime your emotions get in the way, your ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates just like that. Why do you think I could show him some things, him some things? My emotions aren't involved. I can tell him, I can see the truth just like that. And how many of y'all, you're always letting your emotions get the best of it? And anytime you go off your emotions, you say things and do things, and 10 minutes later when your emotions die down, you say, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I wouldn't have did that. If we handed you some 4-step sheets right now today, could you fill them out? Okay. Could you? Could you? Could you? Okay. If you can't, you need to get with your counselor when he gives you the 4-step packet and say, hey, I'm gonna probably need a little help. They're gonna get with me and we're gonna get you some help. Okay? Okay. Comments. Rev, what did you want? You answer it. Questions. You staying? You are in the right place if you want some help. Are you staying?
Yes, sir.
unless I put you out. All right, guys, y'all get ready for lunch.